the OG Willy in the house. That it's one of the first Doge miners, one OG in the cryptocurrency. A long time ago, he started in this scene, and you was telling about the Doge, and what was the decision that you started to when you talk, okay, I gonna mine Deutsch in that moment, because in that moment people was not really like now in memes and in altcoins and in that things. Bitcoin was just $1,000, and
Hmm.
yeah, it was like a different time. What was the moment that you thought, okay, you was sitting and I thought, okay, I gonna mine some Deutsch? What was the moment that you decide that, if I may ask?
Sure, it was honestly Reddit. Being on Reddit, the amount of time I spent on Reddit, I would suggest. But back then, I was aware of Bitcoin, and I thought it was really intriguing. But it was so early. I didn't. I kind of missed. I kind of missed the Bitcoin. And it. I don't know how to explain it, but it was a little too serious, and so therefore was kind of intimidating for me. I mean, I built my own PC, and I was real proud of that after I put it together, and so I was kind of considering maybe I could try to do that, but then I found Dogecoin on Reddit, and the whole point of Dogecoin at that time was that you know y'all aren't worth anything. You're just a dog. You're just
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
a meme. You're only just based on a meme. That's right. Here's some Doge, and we'd throw them Doge. But I wanted to learn how to mine cryptocurrency at that point. Once I saw how much fun they were having in Reddit, and I kind of wanted to poke fun at Bitcoin, not in a mean way at all, but only because of the hate I saw immediately over what we were trying to do. We were just trying to have a worthless coin that we could tip each other in, and
Okay, so it was
somehow
like a
it
it was
somehow
like
it
a
offended
concurrention. So Bitcoin at that moment saw Doge as some concurrention or something, like they wanted to copy it or something like that, right? Or not really?
Well, no, everyone saw it as a ridiculous joke. I believe Litecoin was establishing itself, and Doge is actually a fork of the Litecoin chain. Doge is a fork off of the Litecoin chain.
Okay.
Um, But and then that's um,
Sound
but yeah.
interesting, man. And what was like what was the decision, for example, that you started to mine Doge and not, for example, Bitcoin? Because Bitcoin at that moment already existed for a couple. Was you also familiar with Bitcoin at that time, or it was like directly you went in Doge?
Well, I was definitely familiar with Bitcoin, and I thought it was interesting. But like I say, I thought it was probably over my head
Mm.
and a little too serious. And at the same time, I was playing lots of games. I'm a gamer, and also on Reddit. And this Dogecoin Reddit popped up, and it got real
Okay.
popular real quick when Billy came out with what he did, and including with me. I just saw it on Reddit, and I was like, "Holy crap, really?" And I was familiar with the Doge meme. If y'all are familiar with the Doge meme, and just love the Doge meme already. I was like, "Holy crap, it's the Doge meme on a Bitcoin. I'm gonna do that one."
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And that's how I decided. That's. I was like, "This is fun. I'm gonna learn how to do this now."
So
So.
the moment that you decide to mine Deutsch, you told me like Deutsch was around less than 1/10 of a cent, because I what I remember, like around yeah, January 2024. Deutsch
Mhm.
was around like 1/10 of a cent. So before that, it was like 1/3 of that or less.
I am trying to look right now, if I can find it quick enough. I think I have some screenshots. I do. I have a screenshot here of my tips.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me try to get a nice round. 1,000 Doge was $1 in February 2014. And so let's see, is that a tenth of a cent?
Yeah,
Maybe.
I think it's a tenth of a cent. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, you were exactly right. You're exactly right.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, now that I got my memory refreshed, if I'm not mistaken, we went up kind of decent, and just like you said, we just fluctuated, and it made sense from the inside. The excitement started to wear off a little bit, and Billy left the project, I think, after
Billy and the other guy, they were the founders, right?
Yes, yes. I've seen other people mentioned, and I don't quite understand how or why, but yeah, Billy Marcus and Jackson Palmer wrote it together.
Okay.
But between those two, they fully wrote the. I mean, it was mostly Billy, unless I'm mistaken, or mostly Jackson that wrote it. I'm pretty sure it's Billy, but yeah, as far as I recall, it was only those two wrote it. Now, probably other names I'm seeing are developers that came on later, because there's, they've added on all kinds of development on top of the Doge chain now. But and just real quick, I'll tell you, it was an absolute accident. I was in Reddit and I saw this and it looked neat, and that's kind of almost exactly how I found Link.
When you was at that moment that you saw this, did you ever talk that where Doge will be today, for example? Because in the first year, Doge went up like 8 times, or let's say 10 times, something like that. And from that point, something happened that it totally went back again to 1/10 of a cent. Did you remember the sentiment there? That people at that moment when it went 8 times down from the top, did they talk, okay, this is the end of Doge?
No, we knew from the get-go that there would never be an end to Doge as long as there were 2 or 3 people and 2 computers that wanted to tip each other Doge. Until it literally gets down to 3 people and 2 machines, you can do Doge.
So how many people in that moment were inside the community, what really were like the frontline army, what any community needs to grow and to become bigger? What was the vibes, what was the characters, what in that moment were inside this community, if I may ask?
It was all natural and almost all through Reddit. The more familiar you are with Reddit, that was where we lived almost entirely. Now, shortly afterwards, I started mining and got into mining groups, and we would separate and we would use voice chat and things like that. TeamSpeak, Ventrilo, things like that for voice chats. But really, the Doge core was all through the Reddit page. And it was amazing. We had a Doge tip bot, and so you could load up the Doge tip bot in Reddit with as much Doge as you wanted, and then anywhere across Reddit, you could just type /tip and an amount, and you tip somebody in Reddit Doge.
That's nice, man. That's nice, man.
And that was a great way to spread it around too. Because you.
So actually, in this first year, in the first cycle, like in the beginning of this in this thing, nobody at that moment thought, okay, this is gonna be such a big project now in 2024. What is in the one of the biggest projects now? Right? And that moment, it was just some kind of a joke. So it was not really based on, okay, we're gonna get money from this, or it was just a group of people with the same vision, with the same talks that like to talk with each other and communicate with each other and create a community.
Exactly. We were only just community. Most of us cared absolutely nothing about the price, but there were cool community member whales. Like I remember the guy who was the first had the first million Doge, and I think he paid $1,000 for it. I could be mistaken, but I could swear. I could swear he paid $1,000 and bought a million Doge. And I forget his name, but oh, he's a great guy. But he was, he wanted to be a Dogecoin whale, and so he just bought a million Dogecoin, and now
Some
since
kind, some kind of T7 in the link now.
well, yeah, exactly, exactly.
Okay,
Something
okay,
about
man.
just like that. Yeah,
So
yeah.
to go a little bit deeper inside this thing, because like you are OG, you are from a long time in this space. You are you I imagine that you are in the from that time until now. You always have a look inside crypto, and you are inside the crypto community, and you like this things in the crypto. What really changed from that time until now, and what can we learn from that moment? What we miss at this moment in the market?
Sure, sure. I would suggest, a few things um, with Dogecoin. We had we had we had no expectation of 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 where it where it where it might go. And if you would ask the first part of your question one more time, just
My question is, in that time in 2013, the sentiment and everything was so different. Like,
Mhm,
where are things in that moment that you think that we are missing at this moment in the crypto, or like what was at that moment so different than at this moment, for example, in the meme cycle and in the meme season? Can we compare things with each
mhm,
other, or is it just a very different story? Because in that moment, crypto was just a different thing. People didn't know about it. It was a little group, and what we can maybe learn from that time. What you can maybe tell the new people in the crypto, what are
mhm,
maybe new, what are not OG like you in the market for many years, what they can maybe learn from that time, maybe things what already happened, for example, that you saw Doge
mhm,
went so much up and it went down and still it went up. What was the flame, what was the power that it brought something from 10 years, 11 years ago at such a low price, with so much
mhm,
struggles, because it was not one rocket line up. It had its ups and downs, because when a coin go from let's say almost 1 cent, 2 cent, and it go back again to the moment that it was created, I imagine that in that
mhm,
time, like the people were even more worried and even more scared, because it was a different time frame. Maybe they thought, okay, this is the end. What they can learn from what can the new meme coins learn from it, that, for example, really want to survive in the market? For example, a coin like Link, it
mhm.
has a long-term perspective. It's not a coin that want to dump tomorrow on his people, and like the 99% of the coins do. For example, what we can learn from Deutsch, what we can adopt in Link.
Sure, absolutely. I would say, and first, just to let everybody know, I started mining Doge, and just ripped it for a couple of years, and really enjoyed it. And I just I didn't like completely abandon it, but I just kind of moved on to different things, and with work and life,
Yeah.
I just kind of, it wasn't as exciting as it was in the beginning, but it was still great to go into Reddit and tip some people some Doge and stuff. So I haven't really been in the crypto industry that entire time, locked in, so to speak. I've had a
Okay.
professional life in the meanwhile, but always been an enthusiast because of that spirit with Doge. It was just, golly, it was so amazing.
So that
But
stays always in your soul, this Deutsch, right?
I would suggest it was a completely different space back then, and Granted, this was 10, 12 years ago, so I'm trying to recall as best I can. Most of this is going to be pretty accurate, but from my perspective back then, Bitcoin was very questionable, and it was crazy that it was worth
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah. I
thousand
remember that
dollars
very well.
at
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
point. I remember having conversations with my family, my parents, and I was telling them, look, I'm in this fun little dog thing, and it's so fun, and I'm learning about computers and stuff. It's great, but this thing, Bitcoin, this is real, y'all. It sounds crazy, but if you buy one of these for $1,000, Mom, it's going to be worth $4,000. It might take 20 years, who knows, but eventually this thing, I'm serious, and I was trying to tell her how much Bitcoin was going to go up, I was thinking it's probably going to quadruple, and that was like a huge deal. But as far as Doge, no one expected us to make it except us on the inside. We knew we would make it because we knew we weren't a threat to anybody. Hardly anybody is trading us. Hardly anybody really wants to buy Doge in the first place. So there's hardly any charts. Like you had to work to find a chart for Dogecoin back then. Yeah, or you just go, your Reddit, you have your, in Reddit you got, but it's not like the charts and stuff we have now. Nothing like that.
Yeah, man.
But from my perspective, most everybody, I think, had had the idea there's no way this is gonna survive, but man, we're
Yeah,
gonna
I
do it.
remember that so good. I remember that so good because like when you started to mint Deutsch, I started to discover Bitcoin. And when I
Yeah,
discovered Bitcoin in the first, because I searched about it, and what I found about it, it was like a scam, a pyramid, anything bad what you can hear about something. So
sure.
then I started to read the white paper about it, and it made sense for me, and I tried to explain it to people what was near me, and everybody
Hmm.
I explained this, they talk I live in some kind of fantasy. It was
Sure. Yeah.
like, are you crazy to putting your money there? What are you actually buying? You buying literally nothing. And this was the story at that moment. Like they talk a little bit that you are crazy, actually, that you believe so much in something. Like for example, Bitcoin, or in that moment, Deutsche. It was like something what was not right now. For example, it's so different environment now with then. Like for example, even learn this kind of things right now, it's so easy to find everything. It was so user friendly. And that moment that I discovered, for example, Bitcoin, it was literally I needed to go to the internet and try to in forums, try to find people that want to exchange that with me for cash.
Yeah.
It was
Hmm.
not like you can go to Binance and you're gonna buy with your credit card, and it was not so easy. It was really like some kind of dark place. It was very dark in that moment, and very like very gambling in that moment of time. Like
Sketchy.
it was really, hey, you are gambling, hey, you're gonna be scammed, you're gonna you sit in a pyramid, this is not good. So I can imagine that you had a quite strong character in that moment of time to be in George. Yeah, you should be some kind of person, you need to have some kind of personality to fall in something like that. You should be very excited, and beside that, you should
Mhm.
never be like not scared. You should be very open-minded and open for things, for new things. And I think that made the change. More people understood it. More people try to communicate with you. There was a lot of communities, little communities, what was created in that time. For example, what you say,
Mhm.
Deutsch in Reddit. We were there. You tell me, yeah, we were like a family there, and.
Mhm.
Like what can, for example, because like what this tell me with the story of Deutsch, because I think it's a very beautiful story because it's based on belief.
It is.
It's really based on belief, and this makes me
Mhm.
always so think like if you really believe in something and you go for it and you really
Mhm.
do it with passion and love, because that's the
Mhm.
most important, passion and love. For example, if you want to do something and today you like it, tomorrow you don't like it, but the most of the time when you want to do it you don't like it and you don't do it with pleasure, it will never succeed in my sense of view. And there was something in Bitcoin and in for example Doge in your case, that there was some
Mhm.
kind of love there. There was some kind of thing you want to return there every day and every day. And if you are not there for 1 day or 2 days, you're gonna miss it. Do you see
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
Yeah. Do you see this, for example, back in meme coins in now time? And so yes, which meme coin? Or see you see, for example, see you this kind of things in Link, for example? Do you think that Link really can become something like a Doge in the future? How realistic is this?
I know for a fact that it could potentially come right up under Doge. I say for a fact, in my opinion, I have seen it happen before. You're talking about the FUD that you got for trying to explain Bitcoin to people. Now, from my perspective, we at Dogecoin, we were an entire order of magnitude more silly, more pyramidy, more worthless than Bitcoin. And so, in a way, it was like a defense for us. Anybody that came to attack us, we're just like, yeah, that's exactly right. Here's a bunch of Doge, And but yeah, it was it's FUD. Let me tell you about FUD. FUD is exactly what you know it to be. It is baloney. You should never let FUD enter your mind. Now, if you see some good critique or some good numbers or some good information, absolutely look into it, validate it, verify it. But don't just believe stuff, even if everyone says it. That that's not a good reason to believe it.
What is the
Because
difference? Can I ask you what is the difference between like FUDs and for example um, being realistic? Is there some
sure.
connection between that, like how realistic you should be in this crypto scene, in this meme scene, to survive? Because like we told, 95 or more percent of the meme coins don't survive, and they go,
Mhm.
and they don't survive, and there is a reason why they don't survive. The team behind it is not good, the belief is not enough, there is no honesty, there is no transparency. This kind of things,
Mhm.
for example, it can break a coin. What kind of things, like it's really important to survive, like because you was from the beginning in Deutsch
Mhm.
until now, and you saw this coin growing from zero until what it is now. What is really needed, if you can tell maybe one thing or a couple things, what is really needed in a project, in a meme coin or in any other project like that, it can grow so much what Deutsch did? Because I respect Deutsch a lot from what where they came from. And
Mhm.
maybe you can explain the people from now what they need to do, what they need to have,
Mhm.
what they need to see in some kind of project that they think, okay, I want to put here my money and I think it's safe for the future. And when, for example, it's the moment that you think, no, I think this is not the way.
Sure, sure. Well, with give me just a moment here.
No, relax. You can think
Basically,
about it. It's a difficult question. Like, if you want, I can clarify it. So first of all, what kind of things you think it's necessary in a project that it's needed to grow from Deutsch 2013 to Deutsch 2025?
sure. It so much of it literally boils down to the community. Uh,
Community.
the
Okay.
and how the community feels in general about what they're holding and the coin and what it represents. You know what I mean? We were silly and made fun of from the outside a lot, but also we were sponsoring great projects.
Okay. So
Doge,
marketing,
Doge, Doge
marketing.
on the inside meant do only good every day. That's what Doge stood for us inside Doge. And we weren't trying to tell everybody that. We were just trying to do that. And we did that.
Okay.
We set up water wells across the world. I mean, not all across the world, but which ones we could do. And that's a big bringing water to a village is, that's good stuff.
So
And we were doing good stuff.
so marketing was very important in that moment. And what kind of characteristic do you want to see in the leaders, that it's needed to bring something from the ground to the moon? What kind of character you like to see in these people? Do you like to see effort, honesty? Like, what is the most important that a person need to have to bring a project really in the shine in the top 100, for example? Because the top 100 in the market cap, hey, then you are serious in my sense. Like, under the top 100, maybe in the top 200, you are near, you are already doing good. And
Mhm.
when you enter the top 100, I think you catch the eyes. A lot of people think,
Sure.
hey, this can be serious because you are in the top 100. You didn't came from you. It's not easy to come in the top 100 because I saw many projects trying it, and I saw many projects failing in this phase. So what you
Mhm.
think it's the main importancy that a project need to have, that we can scout a project from that's maybe in the position 1,000 or less, that we can expect, hey, this is the one that will maybe make a good chance in the top 100. What we need to see for that?
Honestly, what I think we need to see, what Link wants to do in order to be that coin that you're talking about, that I think is our destiny. What we have to do is individually break down the limits in your mind.
Okay.
Break down all of those 100 million. That's gonna be great when we hit 100 million. Weren't far from it. 500 million. I'm gonna do XYZ at a billion, and I I do plan on doing a little something if
Yeah.
we hit a billion. But two, don't structure it all out planning on a target. Know that, in my opinion, Link is the meta in a similar fashion that Doge was unreproducible. There was only room for one joke back then. Now there's thousands of them a day. But back to the point. Don't limit yourself in regards to what you and your coin and your community can do, and then the more you allow that to permeate your entire community, the less and less you limit yourself. Most of the limits are because of, honestly, FUD. You begin to believe FUD. You begin to believe sources that they don't know what they're talking about any more than you do. But just if it seems like nonsense, don't believe them. Don't believe them. So disregard the FUD and understand how powerful we could be, and then we manifest. We become that. But and I'm sure there's a few more things maybe next time
Very
if we do some.
interesting. Very
I'll
interesting.
have a few more things, but don't limit yourself.
It makes
Don't
a lot
limit
of
yourself,
sense.
and don't limit what your community can do.
Yeah. So the most important is like, don't limit yourself. So really believe in it. That's the belief should be very high. And beside that,
Mhm.
should the people inside this community, is it possible, for example, to bring a coin in the top 100 if it's not 100% your life? For example, if you're doing a lot of things beside that, and this is just a part of your life, is it possible to become in the top? Is it really possible to become in the top 100 if you partly behind a coin, or do you really need a couple frontline people that really think, okay, this is really this need really be like, this is my life, and I stand up with it, I sleep with it, I go through the fire with it, because that's the character I need to see sometimes in being successful and reaching the top. Reaching the top, it's sacrifice in my sense of view.
Mhm.
Do you think that it's also possible when you don't sacrifice all your life for something to become at the top, or do you think you will never reach a top in that point? You need really people that go through fire.
Well, you certainly don't have to break your back to reach the top. Now, you mentioned leadership and guidance with a coin. I think that is extremely important. Um, like here with Link, we've got the inner council, of course, and we've got our leader Connor, and it's extremely important to have a good leader up front representing, more or less a face of your entire project. But the more your project can gel with that the more you can move together as a system, so to speak. And it doesn't translate exactly to Dogecoin, as far as moving together. We all move together uh, in Dogecoin kind of naturally,
Yeah.
because the price was not important to an overwhelming majority of the community. Here, it's very much different. It's hard to say, I don't care about the price one bit. And I wouldn't say that. I mean, I do it mostly for the camaraderie and community, and that's what's been so hard to find in this Solana space, especially. That's
So,
that's that's one
so,
place
so
where I'm.
Willy, what was the moment that you heard about Link, and what was the moment that you thought, okay, I wanna put some money inside this project because I believe in it. And we're gonna finish this conversation in around 13 minutes. So we try in this 13 minutes to give a conclusion to the people that are watching, to the people that are maybe link holders or any project that they are believing. Like, what was the moment, for example, for you, for an OG like you, for that saw many communities, that saw many projects, that it's from saw many cycles. What was the confirmation that you thought, okay, I want to commit myself to Link, and I want to be a part of Link. What was the confirmation?
Sure. Well, it was kind of a split decision, really. But let me go back a little bit. I became aware of, well, I mean, I was aware of Solana, but I started to realize in the fall that there's a lot of fun on Solana. Solana's fast. It's I just became more interested in Solana. I love memes personally. I'm all about memes. And so I decided to get a Phantom wallet and go check out Solana. And so, of course, Pump Fun was my first visit in. This was 4 or 5 months ago, and I don't know if y'all remember, if you were in Solana. Rick came out, and then Morty came out, and those were a couple of my first coins on Solana. And I was like, hell, I'm just gonna buy, I'm just gonna buy Rick every time it comes up, and 100 times, and then this is, But then a couple of days later, I'm in the Pump Fund trenches, just throwing exit liquidity to anybody who wanted it. Just getting rugged after rugged after rugged after rugged. Now, at the same time, I was getting into crypto Twitter, and so I'd probably followed about 20 Coles or influencers, key opinion leaders as a Cole, and Links in particular, Link OX, who we're founded on. Basically, I found his account to be the coolest. I connected to what he would put out the most, way more than really all of the other Coles I was following. And I didn't have much perspective, but I just started watching his tweets more closely, you might say. And then I came to understand, oh, he's got a trading group. Okay, you can go really learn how to trade from this guy. He's probably pretty good. And so that's the only way I knew of Link,
Okay.
by his tweets that I liked just in general, they hit me more than any of the other ones. And likewise, I was following him and I saw his space open up. And I was like, oh, wow, that's the Linko X one. That's the big dude who's got the, I was like, I'm going to go see what's happening in there. And I went into the space right after, I believe it was right after he announced, hey, they just made a coin in my name. I don't want it. I'm going to burn it or lock it. And I'm listening to this and I'm like, oh, wow, that's Linko X right there. And somebody just gave him $6 million worth of his own token. What's going on here?
Yeah.
And I just, I listened to a bit. I know a number of us were there in that live. And I had an idea. I had been rugged by a KOL about an hour earlier with about 100,000 followers. And he deleted all of his tweets. And I was
Okay.
like,
that's not good.
No, not at all. I was angry. And I was tweeting him like, you son of a bitch, you just ripped me. How do you do that with 100,000 followers? And I was like, hell, I'm going to do it right again with Link. But this guy sounds sincere and he's going to lock it or burn it or one, but he's serious. He's going to do it. And so I started buying Link.
Okay, so the moment that the lock supply was locked and that came out, you thought, okay, that can be some kind of opportunity that we can go inside. A fast question, because we have a couple minutes to go before this stream ends. How much from 0 to 10 you give the chance of probability to Link that it comes in the top 100 in the upcoming years or year or whatever?
Top 100?
Yeah. It's from 0 to 10. How much belief you have in that, if I may ask?
I would say we're 8 out of 10.
That's a very, very high.
Continue to do what we're doing in the direction that we're going right now. Not stop or slow down. Continue doing the exact same thing that we're doing and build out and improve upon it. And we got a 4 and 5 shot of being in the top 100. And if we do that and do it well, I think you'll start seeing us popping up closer to something like Doge.
I think 8 of a 10 is a great score for all the meme coins what inside and for the place it's now. I think it's a great moment, a positive moment to end the show, that somebody like Willy, that was from the beginning in the Dogecoin, gives a 8 of a 10 to Link, that it has probability to go to the top 100. I think that's a perfect moment to end this stream. I hope the people like it. Thank you so much, Willy, to come in the show and share your talks with us. People like you, OGs like you, we need them in the space to learn the young people, to learn the new generation what beliefs is and what they should do and what they shouldn't do. So I hope in the future you will share your talks with us. And let's hope for the best for Link, and let's keep a zoom in Link, and let's see how the road goes. And we come back to each other for sure, and we're gonna update and see how this gonna play out. So I hope the people like it. To all the Link people, do you want to say something, because we have 2 minutes and then we're gonna end the show? So I hope you also liked it, Willy.
And real quick, thank you, Milad, for hosting me. It was a real pleasure. I love talking about this stuff. So
I love it also. All with love. All with love. Thank you so much.
We'll do it again if people want to hear it. So really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening or day, wherever, which time it is. It was, I think, daytime there. So we see each other soon. Thank you so much for everybody that watched. Thank you, the Link family. And we hope we see each other very soon. Thank you so much.
That's great.
Bye, guys. Crypto Milad and Willy. Bye-bye.